Earth as a battlefield for reptilians and insectoids and humanity's golden age, do we have another choice? According to the theory of paleocontact, the Earth has been visited by alien creatures since ancient times, guests from different parts of the galaxy, and there are many types of extraterrestrials. Since ancient times, people have taken these guests either for gods, and they are worshipped and served for demons, and they are tried to be resisted. Now, apparently, representatives of different space races had and are having disassemblies among themselves, as well as different views on us people. The Golden Age, the most ancient era of people. Here we do not yet consider the so-called alien theory of the origin of mankind and the first contacts. We only note that there was an era wherein we were left alone in a way which is convenient for us. There are many people around the world today more or less preserving the tribal structure of society. It's also called the Golden Age or lullaby of civilization. By looking at the traditional life of some small tribes scattered over the globe, these people never built hierarchical structures for organizing their society according to the type of monarchies, etc., but preferred to live in a flock, and therefore the natural way of human existence is life in a flock or a clan or a tribe of up to 100 people. That is, in a community where everyone knows everyone else. A tribal way of life has been preserved for thousands of years among African tribes, among Indians and Australian Aborigines, etc. The leader in the team is chosen by something like a vote, when everyone understands that his survival depends on the choice of the leader. But at some historical moment, a strange phase transition occurred, and people began to unite into much larger structures. The tribal system was replaced by the slave-owning and then the feudal system. The first cities appeared, usually around temples, the houses of one or another god, patron of the people. Often these gods, quote-unquote, guests from heaven, built these cities, and often they were represented in the form of dragons or dragon lords, and so the second era came. Monarchies, time of the dragon gods. So the first, after a long break, apparently was the reptilians, who intervened in our history, who were often represented in myths and fairy tales as devils or magical dragons, turning into people, both good and not so good. Often, at that time, they also had romantic relations with representatives of the ruling families. There are many such stories all over the world, and until now, many aristocratic families, blue-blooded, revere, or even are proud of the fact that their ancestor was a dragon, or say, a succubus, like ruling class in Great Britain revered the Melusine dragon as their ancestor. It turns out that in the era of feudalism, dragon dynasties began to rule us, and so it was all over the world. Moreover, the dragon gods were not always considered evil. There were also golden, solar dragons, ancient and wise patrons of the human race, who wanted to raise people to the heights of civilization. In fact, that ancient world built by the dragons, quote-unquote, and their descendants had many features that made it similar to the structure of society of the reptiles, the reptilians. What is the difference between flocks of cold-blooded reptiles, snakes, etc., from communities of warm-blooded animals? First of all, their abundance. Scientists believe that the most developed communities of dinosaurs, when they owned the earth, often lived in huge collectives like birds, which have much in common with reptiles. Compare a pack of, say, wolves, a few dozen individuals, and a bird flock where there are many hundreds of thousands, and it also has its own hierarchical structure. Does not this remind us of the idea of the structure of the feudal society? And it's no coincidence that the castles of feudal lords were often called eagles' nests or even dragons' nests. Insectoid time. The result of the insectoid invasion, according to the theory was a change in the socio-political formation, with monstrous cities built up by humans began to appear all over the earth, having this process evoked bad thoughts about insectoids. For such collective behavior, life in unimaginably huge agglomerations is completely uncharacteristic of people. This is inherent precisely in insects, bees, and ants. There is the same division of labor. There's also a class of drones, and so on. And the very fact that people have chosen this path speaks of external influence. It's clearly seen that someone has concentrated people in a certain area, preventing us from settling. Why our suggestions, advertising, drug culture, and non-economic methods of management used. All food is taken out of the villages, surplus appropriation, people lose their job, and then some resources are allocated, and then only in the cities. Even until now, there are plenty of territories where no one lives, and quite good territories at that, but still everyone is being driven into the cities. That is, people were deliberately concentrated, and then they began to build this concentration camp out of them, a metropolis, an anthill. And thus there is every reason to believe that at present the insectoids are increasingly getting involved in the confrontation with reptilians or hybrids, reptilian insectoids, and all this threatens us with a world war, which will be an echo of the intergalactic showdown between reptilians and insectoids. In this, according to this theory, there is a hidden meaning of the current geopolitics. Future perspective. Mankind has long been trying to throw off the yoke of reptilians, or at least limit their power, and now a new yoke, insectoids. Of course, all of the above can be taken as a metaphor for our lives, or a plot for a blockbuster movie. So far, a return to the golden age, quote-unquote, is seen as a utopia, which is what attracted people to the ancient ideas of a return to basics, reorganization of society. Someone calls to the past, to the torch and tribal life. Someone even lives like this and is happy, and someone wants to build a humane and just society using the achievements of past eras. This is on Soul Ask. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box